All right, guys, it's Garrett. We're going to start out this video just talking about a little bit about what I did wrong to start with. So after I did my scan, I realized that I really um, should have decreased the resolution of my scan. So the file size that I ended up with was pretty large. It was like 200 something megabytes for an STL file, which is quite a bit. And I think I had something like 6 million points or something like that inside of this file. Which it imported into SOLIDWORKS just fine, but it took a considerable amount of time. So during this first part here, I have it at kind of full speed, and you can see the mesh, right? It all practically looks like a big black box because it's so densely packed with these measurement points. So I thought I would just use it, and another mistake I made was I went ahead right away and tried converting this into a mesh body instead of a graphics body. And realistically, what I want to do, what I'm going to end up doing with this is I'm going to use the slicing tool. And the slicing tool doesn't even use a mesh body type. Mesh body types are great if you have like solids that you want to remove from a mesh that is like watertight. But in this case, this isn't watertight. It's just like surface bodies that I'm using for measurements so I can build my modifications around this geometry. So converting it to a mesh body was not really a great idea. And this I have sped up, I think, at something like 6 or 10 times the speed. And I don't know if you watch the clock probably down in the bottom right corner, you'll have a pretty good idea of how long this actually took for me to make it through. So took quite a while to get my mesh. Definitely could have done it, but what I really need to do is go back into VX Elements or use the mesh decimation tools inside of SOLIDWORKS to fix this. So that's what we'll look at next. All right, guys, so here I am back in VX Elements. I could have easily done the mesh decimation over in SOLIDWORKS, but I would have been doing that decimation on the actual STL, which is just an export from the mesh over here in VX Elements. And because VX Elements is meant to handle these mesh files, it's optimized for that. It's a lot faster for me to do that over here inside of VX Elements than it is for me to do it over inside of SOLIDWORKS. So I'm able to easily get this down. File size was actually about 300 megabytes, and I'm able to get it down to about 46. So a huge reduction in file size, and that's going to really help me with performance inside of SOLIDWORKS, as well as anywhere else that I might want to use this mesh file. And it just takes a minute or two, but it is much faster than trying to do it in SOLIDWORKS with this mesh. Now that's done, we can see the final result as far as the deviation there, as well as how many elements I have. So this should really help me with my performance inside of SOLIDWORKS. All right, we're opening up this mesh file now. Wow, that was really quick. Compared to that previous one, that was practically instantaneous. That's amazing how much faster it is. It's much faster for me to rotate also and zoom in and out. And it doesn't honestly look that much different in the areas that I'm interested in looking at. All right, so the next thing I did here was just hold Control and drag to offset a plane here. I want to use that to capture this front area. Really, the majority of the modifications I'm going to do, or planning on doing here, are in this front area. And I'm going to use the slicing tool, which you can find from the help menu up there. The slice just will create sketches based off of planes that intersect the model. And you don't have to do the whole thing. You can just choose a specific volume. And so I just want to get the top of this kayak towards the front here. And I want to specify a distance, a pretty good distance between these planes so that I don't have to do too many lofted sketches. And then all I need to do is hit OK. You might notice I unchecked exact there, because if you have exact on, it'll take quite a bit longer, as well as it kind of creates faceted sketches, which I really don't want. I kind of want smooth splines along the surface. So we'll go ahead and let that run. And there we go. We have our sketches. All right, guys, a couple more quick tips. So you can change the display style if you don't want to see all those edges of the graphics body. And you can also apply an appearance here. So if you want to make it a little bit more realistic, my kayak's kind of a red. We could call that good. But if you want to make it look a little bit more realistic, you want to do a render or something like that to show people, we can always turn on SOLIDWORKS Visualize. the tab will turn on and we can just do an export right into SOLIDWORKS Visualize. The cool thing about this is it will bring along any of the appearances and stuff with it. You can even have it monitor the file itself, but there's a much better utilization of the technology that we have these days inside of SOLIDWORKS Visualize. We also have access to a cloud library of appearances. So if I want to come in here to like plastics and find a nice red plastic or a plastic with the texture that I like, I could always change the color later. But I'm just in the preview mode, so I'm not even rendering it yet. You notice it all comes in as one piece. So here what I need to do is go to the actual model tab, and I can split this body. I can just edit that and go ahead and split it. And you can just click out in the graphics area to preview the split. And you can use that facet tolerance to kind of make sure that it's getting the right amount of stuff. And this will split it kind of into two separate parts. That was all part of a single scan, part of a single body inside of SOLIDWORKS, but it doesn't stop me from kind of modifying it over here inside of SOLIDWORKS Visualize if I'd like. I can just drag and drop an appearance on there. Now I could even change this to like a rubber appearance, something that has a little bit better texture to it. And again, because it's a kind of a cloud library, if you haven't used the appearance before, all you need to do is click on it and download it, and then you can assign it just by dragging and dropping it. And then to actually turn on the render, what's really nice about SOLIDWORKS Visualize rendering, it's GPU rendering, so it's very, very quick. We can just drag and drop those appearances on it to see a couple of different styles. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I really enjoyed designing stuff, and I really learned a lot dealing with these mesh files, what I can do inside of SOLIDWORKS, and what's best left inside of VX Elements or any tool that's kind of natively dealing with these meshes. So if you guys did learn something, make sure you're telling me down in the comments what you learned, as well as, you know, if have any questions about any of this stuff, go ahead and leave us a note down there as well. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Have a great day.